Welcome. Thank you so much for being here to the Masters of Arts in Educational Leadership and Management. We have a special webinar today for you. It is called IB Leadership and You. So we're going to be focusing on that. And I'm privileged, of course, to be joined by Dr. Doug Hamilton, who's the program head. Doug, how are you today?
I'm great. Thanks, Ariana. I hope everybody else is doing well. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being here. And my name is Ariana Konjerski. I'm an education specialist here at Royal Roads University. So really delighted to be here with you today. We'll go ahead and get started. Before we get started, of course, it's very important to acknowledge our traditional lands that Royal Roads University rests upon. So we do acknowledge that the traditional lands of the Wasepsum and Lekwungen ancestors and families is where our campus is located. And we are very grateful to live, work, and play here where Indigenous and non-Indigenous staff, students, and faculty come together. So again, thank you all so very much for being here. We appreciate it. Just a quick agenda before we get started here. We'll start off with some welcome and introductions. That's what we're doing now. And again, feel free to use that chat feature and let us know where you are tuning in from. I'll just touch briefly on the Royal Roads University experience and then go into a bit of a program overview, which will be led by Doug, and then some admission and application information about the program if you want to know more. And then we'll have some time at the end as well for questions and conversations. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to pop them in the chat or just let us know what's on your mind, and we're happy to answer as we go along as well. Just a little bit about Royal Roads University in case you aren't too familiar with it, if you're hearing about it for the first time or just getting started. So we are a university in Victoria, British Columbia. And we have a really wonderful campus that I'll tell you a little bit about now. You'll see we have some photos that we've chosen here for you. The top left is pretty famous. It's a National Historic Site. It's Hatley Castle is what it's called. We also have over 500 acres of green space on campus here. So you'll see right to the right of that, that's the Japanese Gardens. And that's one of our many gardens here that we have on campus. We also have a migratory bird sanctuary, which is just bottom left, and that's called the Esquimalt Lagoon. It's a really beautiful place. It's a favorite of mine to go and just take a little walk in nature. But also we have blended programming, of course, at Royal Roads. We were really pioneers in the blended model. So we do focus quite a bit on online and blended learning. So a lot of the time you'll do most or all of your program online. So we're really proud that we're pioneers in it as well, in addition to having a beautiful campus. And with that, I will just pass it off to Doug, and we will get going on a bit of a program overview.
Great. Thanks, Ariana. And again, welcome everybody to our session today. So I'm just going to provide some sort of foundational and some fundamental details about our program, what the course flow looks like, what the emphasis is in the curriculum. I'll also speak about the special relationship that we have with the International Baccalaureate Organization. And hopefully that'll give you some further insights into one of the unique features of our program. Okay, so I just want to start off, next slide, there we are, go. So our program is as it says here, to help aspiring and existing school leaders. It's beyond school administrators to develop the skills and knowledge that will help you function as an effective leader. However, I'd like to just qualify that by saying, in essence, we're not necessarily developing leaders, because we believe that everybody who's a professional in an educational environment is already a leader. You've demonstrated your leadership in a variety of different ways. So in essence, what our program is really intended to do is to build upon your strengths and enhance your opportunities for continuing professional growth. Our goal really, our goal is to help you make more of a difference in the lives of your learners, your colleagues, community members, as well as make a difference to your own life as well in terms of providing you some additional opportunities for growth. Okay, next slide, please. So this is just a sort of overview of our curriculum. At the center, you'll see that we have this relationship, almost like a yin yang between leadership and learning. And those are kind of the two foundational parts of our program, as you can well imagine. But both leadership and learning are interdependent concepts in many ways. And, we like to refer to the way that they connect as in two phrases: learning to lead and leading to learn. So learning to lead is really about, it's an ongoing, uh, I would say, a lifelong effort to grow as a leader. Um, we're just a small step or a small stage in your overall growth, but we hope through this program that, we'll provide you with some skills, some concepts, a lot of different applications that will enable you to jumpstart your growth. Um, leading to learn, the other side of that is really about your opportunities as a leader to support the learning of students, staff, parents, community members, as well as your own learning. So those two concepts work very closely together. The boxes around the circles represent the different areas of focus in terms of the curriculum that we emphasize within our program. And in essence, the whole connection between leading and learning is realized through those different emphases in the curriculum. But what brings us all together in many ways is the fact that we focus, pretty well, not I wouldn't say exclusively, but we focus a lot on in your own application of these concepts, what you can take from the program and apply to your practice, and not at the end of the program. We expect that you'll be able to apply concepts as you're going through the program, and there'll be concepts that you explore in collaboration with other learners in the class as well as your faculty. So that's one of the reasons why we have a cohort-based model, so that you can learn from your classmates as well as they can learn from you. So in essence, this is sort of the big picture when we talk about our program. And then in the next slide, we'll kind of drill down a bit more in terms of the actual details of the pathway through the program. So as you'll see also in the next slide, we have really two options. One is the master's program, which is a 2-year program. And there's actually two options attached to that particular program. One is a course-based pathway, which is the main pathway. And that at the end, you'll have a capstone research paper to create that allows you to bring together your learning from the last 2 years. And then we also have a thesis option. And we invite all learners to apply for a thesis, but it is by application and it's a competitive application. So we usually choose 2 to 3 learners per year who desire the thesis route. Basically your second year of the program, as you'll see in the next slide, it would be dedicated to doing your thesis. And I'll also end this part of the presentation later with more of a focus on the IBO leadership certificate that we offer in partnership with the IBO. The other possibility for you is to do a graduate diploma. And that really, in essence, is the first year of the master's program. So as a diploma learner, you would take the program with the 2-year MA students. But at the end of your first year, you would have the option of saying, okay, thank you. I'm happy, I've got my diploma, and maybe I'll come back and finish it at some point. So you have that option basically to return and complete your MA degree. Why is this an option that we feel is important? It's because some people, their circumstances are such that it's not really the best timing to do a 2-year degree, or they want to be able to put one foot in the water and test out the graduate learner experience. We do find that quite a few graduate diploma learners will go on to do the full degree, but some actually take a break and come back and finish the second year of the degree. Thanks, Ariana. So this is, again, drilling down a bit deeper, kind of gives you a sense of the flow. We start the program off at the second week of June with a 2-week, what we call the link. And then basically it's an orientation to the university. It's a requirement, but it's not a credit-based requirement. And it's an opportunity for our staff to welcome you to the university, introduce you to the learning model at Royal Roads, to invite people who represent different services at Royal Roads to come in and meet with your cohort. You also have some team-based learning activities in that link. Again, they're not credit-based, but excuse me, they will give you an essence of some of the learning approaches that we value highly within not just our program here, the MA in Educational Leadership and Management, but across the university. You'll also have an opportunity to connect with myself, program head, and our staff at the and the department as well, and your instructors who will be teaching you in the first 2 courses. Speaking of which, you probably know by now that this is a blended program, meaning that there is a residency requirement. There's a 2-week residency in the last 2 weeks of July. And that 2-week period is sort of embedded in the larger courses of what we call 501 and 505. With those courses will start at the end of June and continue all summer. But the residencies are an integral part of the experience. And really what they're intended to do is give you a chance to work intensely with your classmates and your faculty and spend time in a beautiful, beautiful place. I mean, I've been here for 23 years, and I'm still awed by the beauty at Royal Roads. And so you'll have lots of opportunities to get out, explore the forests, after class, before class or whatever. Try to build in some activities that enable you to also get outside during your school day. And so it's one of the highlights, I think, of the initial part of the program, because you'll come away from that really feeling that you know the university, you know your faculty, and that you've built these incredible connections with your colleagues and classmates that you're studying with. And then we move into the distance online component. The remainder of the year, basically, courses are completed online. And then at the end of that first year, that's the end of the program for the graduate diploma students. And then the thesis students will start in on their thesis route. But as I've mentioned, most learners will proceed with the course-based route. And that, again, will be online. But the last course is the capstone course. And so that's an opportunity to choose sort of a topic that's meaningful to you and perhaps your school community, to explore in depth, sort of a research-informed perspective, and to develop a change leadership plan for enacting some sort of set of hopefully transformational activities that allow you to address the challenge or the opportunity that you've identified at the core of your 610 research course. And I think we'll go on to the next slide. Ariana, thank you. So that was sort of a big picture of the program. And now I want to speak, as the title of the session actually alluded to, I want to speak a little more specifically about this wonderful partnership that we've had with the IBO since actually the initial launch of this degree. We've been able to work with the International Baccalaureate Organization to offer the IB Advanced Certificate in Leadership Research. And this is a great addition to the program, and a reasonably unique addition to the program, because in essence, what it means is that you can go through this program, apply your coursework, your assignments, etc., to an IB context. And it doesn't have to be all of your coursework, but substantial amount of your coursework to an IB context. And then at the end of the degree, when you graduate, you can apply to receive the certificate from the IBO. And that's that's a bonus. You pay a registration fee. I think it's £70, but it's a great opportunity. So let's move to the next slide, and I'll give a few more details about the certificate. So this certificate, and this is an important point, is only available to existing IB educators who have experience in leadership, whether or not that's formal or informal. You don't have to be a school principal or vice principal. You could be a pedagogical leader. And so it really enables you, perhaps we can go to the next slide, Ariana, and I can speak a little more specifically here. It really enables you to deepen your understanding with a research informed lens of the issues, opportunities that exist for leadership in IB schools. You'll notice that we have this diagram, by the way, is produced by the IBO. It's not ours. And it's really just a conceptual map, so to speak, that you can use for self-assessment purposes or growth planning. No one's going to come up to you and say, well, did you follow all of these different points? That's not the point of this particular diagram. It's really to provide you with sort of a conceptual overview. But one of the key reasons for why I inserted it into our presentation is that one of the things our program is really committed to is the concept of reflective practice, your ability to think about and take stock of what you're learning and how you can apply that to practice in an ongoing way. In fact, the last course before you take the research course, 610, is a course in reflective practice where you actually get to look back at the last 2 years of your study and starting to think about how that course has set you up for further growth, how it has already, and how it may in the future, or how the program has set you up for future growth. And we look at reflection through 3 different lenses: the lens of being a learner, first lens. The second lens is through being an educator. And then the third lens is through being a leader. So it's a great course, I think, and a unique course. I don't think there's any other program at Royal Roads that offers a course like that. But it's a great course for kind of taking your concepts, being able to sort of take a breath and look back at your last 2 years of study and saying, okay, what does this mean to me for my future growth? Anyway. Thanks, Ariana, for showing that. So speaking of what does this mean for me, just in terms of, why would I be interested in taking the certificate? Well, again, if you're already an IB educator, it's like a freebie. I mean, yes, you have to pay a registration fee, but most IB educators who are going to take the program and who have taken the program are already thinking about how can I apply what I'm learning in the program to my IB context. So this certificate allows you to actually just formalize that connection and get credit for it. What will the certificate do for you? Well, it's one of 2 leadership certificates recognized across the world by the IBO. So having that opportunity to take the certificate may open other doors for you. It certainly gives you access to other resources through their web portal, may give you opportunities to connect with IB educators as well. So again, it's kind of like a no-brainer if you already are an IB educator. So anyway, I wanted just to highlight this particular feature of the program. And then we sometimes we get questions about, well, is this program, is the MA, eligible for TQS movement along the levels and pathway? and that's a teacher qualification service in BC. And yes, it's been fully approved. When we started this program, we went through the process of having it recognized by the teacher qualification service. So as well as in other provinces as well. So just wanted to reaffirm that. Anyway, I think at this point, turn it back to Ariana to give you further details.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Doug. That was very informative. It sounds like a really wonderful certificate option. So hopefully for folks tuning in, great option for you. I'll just take you through a little bit on how to apply. So if you're thinking about applying to this wonderful program or any program really, we'll go over the steps on just some admission requirements first. So at Royal Roads, we're pleased to offer both standard and flexible admissions. So standard admissions means if you're an educational professional with a 4-year undergrad degree in a related field from a recognized post-secondary institution and some relevant work experience, you could be admitted with standard admissions. We also have the flexible admissions option for maybe folks who don't have an undergraduate degree or some undergraduate experience. For flexible admissions, it is some undergraduate education and significant relevant work experience, which could be eligible. And then all applications, of course, are assessed on a case-by-case basis. So this is something that our admissions department takes care of. It's not something where you choose one or the other, but please feel free to apply, not apply, even if you do not have a full undergraduate degree. We would still love to have you in the program. There are some steps to follow for, of course, how to apply. The first step being you pay an online application fee. Very easy. It is $131.39. And then we ask for some supporting documentation. So what that looks like is any official transcripts, a personal statement, which is really just your statement of intent coming into the program. Why do you want to come into the program? What do you hope to bring to the program? And what do you hope to get out of the program? Of course, all of this information is going to be on our website, royalroads.ca, just for a little bit more on how to write a statement of intent or personal statement. We also ask for a detailed resume, which highlights any work or volunteer experience and make sure it is super detailed so our admissions department can get to know you as best as they can. And then 2 letters of reference. These can be academic or professional in nature, but 2 of those. As far as intakes go, of course, we do have some intakes that are coming up. Our next one is starting on June 12th, 2023, which is hard to believe. That's almost here. The application deadline, my friends, there's still time. It is May 12th, 2023. So if you're thinking about applying and you want to start in June, the time is now, absolutely, to get your application started. If not, we understand that this could be a big decision. So we also have a start deadline of June 10th, 2024. Which is next year. The application deadline for that is March 10th, 2024. So if you're thinking about maybe a little bit of future planning, that could be a good option for you as well. Of course, going back to school is, it's a large decision, right? So we have some services that are available to you. We have our wonderful financial aid and awards team, so they can explore all the resources that are available to you at Royal Roads, which is loans, bursaries, scholarships, other awards, student research, other funding, emergency funding, internal, external, all kinds of funding. So feel free to get in touch with them. The link is on the screen there, but of course, if you search financial aid awards at Royal Roads, it'll pop up there for you and you can explore. It's nicely laid out. You can explore all of the different options and filter as well, kind of what might be available to you depending on your situation. We also have our wonderful enrollment services bias, but they are a really great team of people to work with. And the email for that is just learn.more@royalroads.ca. There's a couple phone numbers as well for local and toll-free on the screen for North America, and they really can help you narrow down program options. They'll connect you with students and alumni and just really talk you through what you hope to get out of the program and advise you on your options. So really wonderful resource as well to connect with. As far as the slides, that wraps us up for our slideshow here, but we are super welcome to have any questions. I believe there is a question in the chat, so we'll get to that in just a minute. Before we do, there is also a blog for the School of Education and Technology, so please do check that out there. The link is on the screen, and of course, contact us to stay in touch. I will just stop sharing my screen as we go into the question and answer period here. Excellent. And Doug, do you want to take the question that we have in the chat here?
Yeah, Beatrice, thanks for the question. No, actually, international students are welcome to apply, and certainly we have international students who have who are IB educators, and there are very few actually universities worldwide who offer this particular program. So with this partnership with the IBO. So yes, it's open to international students, even if you're not interested in the IB certificate, which is an option. It's not something that you need to take. So even if you're not an IB educator, it's still the program is wide open for international learners, and we encourage international learners to join the program because it enriches, I believe, the cohort experience, learning community experience.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Doug. And I'm just wondering, you were mentioning residency earlier, so maybe for folks that are on the line or on the recording, how is the residency component? What can people maybe expect from the residency if they're thinking about joining the program?
Sure. So we have the two courses that are being offered in residency. We also have and in both courses, there's a variety of different learning activities. In one of the courses, we focus a lot on guest speakers, which is the social justice course. There's also opportunities for um, having sessions by our library, who will take you through the process of how to do, how to search out references online. They'll introduce our writing center, which is a great resource for learners as well as faculty. And our writing center is where basically you can access almost any resource that you can imagine that's going to support you in the academic writing process. You can even make an appointment to, share an excerpt from your writing if you need further help. But it's a resource that'll be available to you for the entire program. We also have presentations and workshops by our team coach, because team-based learning is an integral part of our program. So there's a team coach who her um, really role is to support you in learning about effective team um, uh, processes and protocols. And it's not just necessarily uh, focusing also on your time within the program. We're hoping that we can, the team coach, as well as your faculty, can give you skills that are going to last your lifetime. So, if you're doing a lot of collaborative work in schools, which we often do, then the skills that you're picking up through working with the team coach are going to be helpful skills and knowledge that you'll be able to apply to your work as well as to your time in our program as well.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And of course, sorry, I just have to mention
Yeah.
one more thing. And we have some social events too. I mean, we can't have a residency without social events. So we have a barbecue and a banquet and photos, etc. Walk through the grounds. And so it's really about building relationships, building connections to the university. We'd like to also think about it as place-based learning, because you're on the grounds of a very historic site, and with its indigenous heritage as well. And so this is an opportunity to learn more about that when you're on campus.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I'm here on campus right now, Doug, and definitely there's just such a wonderful energy that comes from a place like this. So it's a really special experience getting to come on campus for sure.
I can't promise this, but the weather usually in the last 2 weeks of July is pretty darn consistently wonderful.
Yes, yes, as it is, right? Yeah, we have
Yeah,
some nice summers here. And just one more question, if anybody, of course, has any questions, feel free to pop them in. But one more question that I can ask is maybe what the online component looks like. What is that kind of on a daily or weekly basis going to be composed of or look like for
sure.
the
Yeah,
learners? Yeah.
yeah. So for some people, learning online is will be a new experience. For others, and of course, through COVID, many people ended up getting more experience in either learning online or teaching online. So we don't necessarily expect you to have experience, but it's certainly there's an orientation towards learning online. I mean, during the link, you'll experience learning online, which is the 2 weeks prior to the start of your program. But it's normally there's both synchronous, so real-time components as well as asynchronous. Most of your components in your online courses will be asynchronous, meaning you have a lot more flexibility in terms of when you connect with your teams, or when you're doing your readings, when you can work on your assignments. Of course, there's deadlines, but um, you don't have to be present at a certain time on a certain day. Whereas a synchronous component, and we try to keep this manageable because, as Beatrice pointed out, if we have international learners, they're going to be in a totally different time zone than people in Canada. Of course, we have time differences in time zones across our country. So we used to come together maybe 3-4 times together in each course. It does vary. But the idea is, again, to allow you to interact with your colleagues. Usually our faculty will, introduce a new concept, but they'll also focus on having the group interact in some way, maybe teasing around the concept that they've introduced, or something else. Sometimes there's guest speakers that come in on the synchronous part. But then, we use Moodle as our platform, and of course Zoom as our synchronous tool. And in Moodle, you'll have a schedule. That's one of the first things you'll see in a course, that lays out the different activities and due dates for assignments, etc. But then there may be activities that take you beyond your computer. We don't want necessarily all your activities beyond your computer. There may be something that you're asked to do within your school, to do some fact finding or whatever. So the home base will be Moodle, but that's not necessarily the only place that you'll be sort of learning.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think that just gives folks, maybe if they're watching the recording or tuning in live, then it just gives us a nice idea of what to expect. So thank you for that, Doug. Appreciate it. I see Beatrice, you have a question in the chat. If you need a visa to study, how should you go about that? A good first step, of course, is to contact our enrollment services. So it's just going to be, and I'll put it in the chat as well, just learn.more@royalroads.ca. Again, this is all on our website. So if you go on our website, you'll see right in the top corner there, just contact us and they'll be in touch with you super fast. There's a couple different ways to be in touch with them, but usually email is the easiest. So that would be my advice. They'll be able to walk you through that process, because there is some steps, of course. So without going into too much detail, that would be a good first step. I don't know, Doug, if you have anything to add to that, but
No, I think that's
yes.
I wouldn't want to give you any incorrect
Yeah,
information.
exactly.
So, yeah.
Exactly. That's perfect. Okay. Well, again, if nobody has any other questions, I believe we can wrap it up here. So thank you so much, Doug, for your time.
Can I just make one other point?
Absolutely.
Ariana, you mentioned what's required as part of the application process. And I just wanted to mention the statement of interest, because
Mhm.
that's a key document. It's not like we want you to spend weeks and weeks and weeks writing it, but we're really, really interested in why you feel that this program um, is important to you. Um, why this program as opposed to perhaps another program as well. And the reason for that is we want to be able to, first of all, it's from my perspective, it's always great reading to see why people are interested in the program, but also we want to make sure that, we're a good match for you as well. Um, and and so that's one of the other reasons for reviewing it. And we also want to ensure that you've got some some goals for yourself, um, that you are hoping to pursue as a result of the study. So it's basically an important document that gives us a window into your motivations, um, you know how this fits into your potential career uh, plan. So that's an important component. The other thing I just wanted to mention, and that is the you are doing a sort of the equivalent of a full-time graduate degree. And so the decision to take the program also means that there's going to be a commitment that's necessary for 2 years of your life. So a lot of people were busy educators. Many of you will have families, et cetera, or you'll have perhaps even, aging parents to look after or whatever. It's important to also think about, how am I going to make the sufficient room for this program over this 2-year period? As opposed to just adding it on top of something like your existing life. um, so that's one thing. And two is also think about your support system. Who's there to support you while you go through this? Because your friends might not see as much of you during the period, only because you're going to be, making a commitment to the program. But also your family, is this the right time for your family situation? And how can your family support you as you, first of all, is your family supportive of you? I'm making the assumption they would be, but how can they help you? It might be 2 years of changing things up in terms of responsibilities so that you can actually dedicate the time that you need to finish the degree. So those are things just to keep in mind when you're thinking about the timing of the program in your career and as your professional life, and as well as your personal life.
That's great. Yeah, thank you so much, Doug. Those are two very important points to touch on. I love the statement of intent when I wrote mine for a program that I'll be doing in the future. It really gives you some time to sit down and think about kind of what you want out of the program and what you can bring to it as well. So yeah, thank you for saying that.
You're welcome.
Let me just see if we have, yeah, thank you so much, everybody in the chat. We appreciate you being here. For those on the recording, thank you for making it until the end. We appreciate it. Thank you so much, Doug, and everyone, and
You're
we
welcome.
hope to see you in a future webinar.